Good morning. I'm Kate Murray, Supervisor of the Town of Hempstead. We're here on the steps of Town Hall to talk about a very, very serious issue that is absolutely threatening to become an epidemic here in Nassau County. But we've seen over a 100% increase in the number of fatal heroin overdoses in Nassau County in the first 7 months of 2015 compared to the same period last year. Now, many of us have read news reports that contend ordering home delivery of heroin is as easy as ordering a pizza. These sobering facts underscore the need for more action in the war on heroin. And today, I am calling for the creation of a heroin task force at the county department level that would increase resources and coordinate efforts in the battle against this horrific drug. I'm pleased to be joined by Nassau Detectives Association President Glenn Ciccone. We have Nassau PBA President James Carver, Nassau Superior Officers Vice President Kevin Black, and Mr. Warren Zeisman, who is the Chief Executive Officer of ACI Drug Counseling and Treatment Program. Well, the statistics are very, very startling and very distressing. Fatal heroin overdoses are up 107% in the first 7 months of 2015 versus that same time period in 2014. And non-fatal heroin overdoses are up during that same period as well. Heroin, as we know, is destroying families in all social strata, all economic brackets, and it knows no racial or cultural boundaries. Heroin is cheap, average $10 to $25 for a single dose, and it is certainly readily available. Now, a recent news report has stated that sophisticated network of dealers and distributors have made the home delivery of heroin as easy as ordering a pizza. Reports of accessing delivery through the internet. And as we all know, heroin is so severely addictive. Well, it's time to put a task force, a local task force in place to wage a full force offensive against and in this battle against heroin. We don't need a federal level task force that's already in place, but instead we need a county task force in the police department to battle this scourge. We need more detectives and police officers on the street to gather intelligence, track down dealers, and interrupt the distribution, including the home delivery of heroin. We need more high-tech assets for detectives to track that distribution of heroin, and we need to expand education for our young people to break the cycle of heroin addiction. Police has programs for young people, along with the town, which is currently developing educational materials to go along with those programs. We also need more drug intervention and treatment programs, and recently the town of Hempstead has committed increased funding to 2 programs that deal with counseling of drug addicted citizens, one in Levittown and one in Valley Stream. There's Yes and New Horizon are the groups. And we also, of course, need tougher prosecution of drug dealers with no diversion sentencing or court for merchants of death. Now, communication and coordination between all of the stakeholders in this issue is incredibly critical. And with that being said, I would like to invite Glenn Ciccone, who's the president of the Nassau County Detectives Association, to share a few thoughts. Glenn?
Thank you, Kate. Kate is obviously serious about this heroin problem because she chose the hottest day of the year to hold this press conference. Kate is absolutely right. We do need a task force. We need more work being done. We need more detectives, we need more police officers, we need more supervisors involved in fighting drugs in Nassau County. Heroin isn't just a social drug like cocaine where people go to parties and they participate in illegal drugs and that's the end of it. When you participate with heroin, you're addicted. It's an instant addiction, and that's what's taken our kids, our families away from us. There are approximately on Long Island an overdose death per day, and that's just way too much. The DAI has been fighting with the department and pleading with them for more resources. Currently, we have 38 detectives. They followed up. They did give us 4 detectives last week to fight the heroin problem, but by November there'll be 4 retirees. So we're just at a standstill, and it's been a standstill for a couple of years now, where we've been fighting to try to get more detectives into the program. What Kate is suggesting is a departmental with different unions, the police department, the PBA, the SOA, and the DAI, with the DA's office. And that's a new one for us, to actually sit down with somebody that's possibly, hopefully, will be the next DA, and says, I want a partnership up with you unions, and I want to fight the heroin problem. And that's why we're here, to support Kate Murray.
Thank you, Detective. Also, I would like to invite James Carver, who is the president of the Nassau PBA, to share a few thoughts.
Good afternoon, everybody. We've talked about this heroin problem for some time. For those that remember, I think it was last September, October, before the legislature, they honored police officers and AMTs who used that new Narcan to save lives of heroin overdoses. What we've seen since then is a continuation of overdoses, to the point of heroin users are starting to play a game. They know we're going to respond, and they know we're going to use Narcan again. Again, it's a dangerous game when you start playing with lives. Back in 2010, under then Commissioner Mulvey, a task force, the last task force, was formed to deal with heroin. And that lasted probably about 6 to 9 months. That disbanded, and there's been nothing in the department since that time. We have talked about this time and time again. We're losing our children. And it's not just our children. Probably just about an hour ago, a little bit over an hour ago, our police officers responded to a scene where there were 2 women in a vehicle that were overdosing from heroin. And it wasn't teenage kids. One of them was in their 50s, and they needed Narcan to save their life. So this isn't a problem that's just dealing with our kids. It's our parents, it's our brothers and our sisters. And again, the only way you can sit there and seriously battle the heroin is by having a serious task force. Not a Band-Aid where you say you have a task force, a real task force with real detectives, police officers, and supervisors dealing with this issue day in and day out. And we are joining here with Kate Murray and with all the unions, and with Warren, to sit there and say, let's stop talking about it and let's start doing something to stop our kids from dying and getting access to this drug. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim Carver. Also, I would like to invite up Kevin Black, who is the Vice President of the Nassau Superior Officers Association.
Very briefly, the supervisors in both the Detective Division, Patrol Division, and the Support Division look forward to working in a task force and supervising the detectives and police officers who should be and will be on the front lines of this heroin crisis. And we fully expect to be involved in the planning and execution of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin Black. And now I'd like to invite up renowned CEO of Addiction Care Interventions, Mr. Warren Zeisel.
Thank you, Supervisor Murray. I want to start off by applauding Supervisor Murray and the law enforcement leadership here. They're providing not just an identification of the issue, but a solution to a problem that's been ravishing our community here in Nassau County. It's affecting families, individuals, and communities at record rates. A lot of this is related to opiate addiction pills, such as oxycodone, Vicodin, Percocet. People are getting hooked on these medications and turning to heroin for all the reasons that were discussed earlier today. It's less expensive, and it's a way for them to address, withdrawal and things of that nature. The treatment options that are being laid out, the task force that's being laid out, is what we need to combat this issue. I want to really thank you again for being such a strong advocate to the treatment community, getting us the resources we need to more effectively treat individuals here in Long Island, combat the heroin addiction issue, and also developing this task force, which is going to provide ongoing leadership and ongoing attention to this necessary issue in a meaningful way. Really, thank you so much for everything you're doing to help those who really need your help.
Thank you, Warren. And as the sign to my left says, we're here to call for a local task force on heroin that would include all of the stakeholders to attack this problem. And what's more, we'll work collaboratively to make sure that when it comes to heroin, we'll be delivering a clear message. Home delivery and takeout is canceled.
Okay, and we're just gonna take a break.